What's up, guys? This is Sam Talks About Games, and today I'm going to be talking about the recent Nintendo Switch 2 rumors. Now, I know I've been talking about Nintendo Switch 2 a lot, but these rumors are big, trust me. And I'm kind of going to be combining these rumors with everything I've heard so far and try to get a hand on the specs. So, the rumors that we just got released, this was yesterday at the time this is being released. And Eurogamer reported on the Nintendo Switch 2 having a couple demos shown at Gamescom to developers. And apparently those demos were a souped up version of Breath of the Wild and the Matrix Awakens PS5 and Xbox Series X demo. So, souped up Breath of the Wild, that kind of makes sense, you know. But the Matrix Awakens demo, supposedly it was running at 4K, it had ray tracing, and it looked like a PS5 game. And just recently, we got another rumor, like a week or two ago, about FF7 remake running on Switch 2 and looking like a PS5 game. So it's starting to look like the Switch 2 may be a little more powerful than we thought. So, here's what I'm thinking. Switch 2 is obviously not going to be as powerful as a PS5. That makes zero sense. And it would cost about $2,000. However, I'm thinking in handheld mode, Switch 2 could be between PS4 and PS4 Pro. When you dock it, it kind of gets closer to PS4 Pro. But deep learning super sampling. So here's where the shit hits the fan. DLSS 3.1 is being used in this Switch 2 apparently. And that's pretty big because DLSS 3 does something DLSS 2 can't. And that's frame generation. So, for example, DLSS 2.0, say if you're at 720 30 frames per second, you could go up to 1440p 30 frames per second. However, if you're using DLSS 3, you could go from 720 30 to 1440 60 frames per second. Something like that. So, that's what this Switch could be using. So, we could have some graphically intensive games running at 1080 30 being upscaled to 4K 60. Now, I will add that Switch 2 is not likely to be able to upscale 30 up to 60. So upscaling 30 frames per second up to 60 is a little weird. It's better to upscale like 60 to like 120. But I think 1080 60 is reasonable for most games. I know it's not what we've gotten on the Switch, but the Switch is running on 8-year-old hardware at this point. By the time Switch 2 comes out, it'll be 9-year-old hardware, even more. So Switch 2 is going to be a massive jump. I think it's going to be able to do 1080 60. So we shall see, but I'm feeling pretty confident about this. So, furthermore, Universo Nintendo, which has gotten a lot of things right with Nintendo in the past, has talked about Switch 2 at Gamescom as well. And they further elaborate on the point that it's going to be DLSS 3.1, not 3.5, which is fine. It's not like it's a terrible option. But they do elaborate that it is going to be DLSS 3.1. It's going to be the 3.0. And if you know anything about NVIDIA chipsets, DLSS 3.1, the 3.0 series, the frame generation part of it is exclusive to the 40 series. So this makes me think that the Nintendo Switch 2 is running on a 40 series mobile chip. Obviously, it wouldn't be as powerful as the 40 series. That would be nuts. But there's going to be 40 series architecture in a mobile chip is what I'm aware of. When we thought it would be a 30 series mobile architecture. So that's really good. And Universal Nintendo also says that there's going to be 12 gigabytes of RAM, which is fine, because there's probably not a lot of RAM going to be taken up by the UI and stuff. Maybe just 1 gigabyte. So there's still 11 gigabytes of RAM free. So that should be good. 16 would have been a safe bet, but 12 is fine. It's more than 8, right? So, moving on. Furthermore, what do I think this all means? Well, I think this means, as I've been saying, I think this means Switch 2 is going to be closer to PS5 than Switch was to PS4. I think we're going to see more ports, especially considering diminishing returns are starting to take play in consoles nowadays. We're seeing games still come to PS4. Persona 3 Reload still coming to PS4. Metaphor ReFantazio still coming to PS4. And that's probably near the end of 2024. Call of Duty this year, Modern Warfare 3, still coming to PS4. So my point is that due to consoles being less and less of a jump, even though there's like big power jumps, it's going to be easier to port things to Switch 2. It's going to be even easier with Switch 3 and Switch 4 and Switch 5. And then at all, it's not going to feel like a port. It's just going to feel natural. It's going to look the same because diminishing returns are happening. And they are here. So I think we're going to see that with Switch 2. I think we're going to see a lot of ports. I think games such as Elden Ring, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Dead Space Remake, etc. All these big games I think we're going to see come to Nintendo Switch 2. Because Nintendo Switch 2, like I said, if we include everything, it's going to be pretty damn close to PS5. And really, 12 gigabytes of RAM for 1080p textures is better than 16 gigabytes of RAM for 4K textures, right? Because Switch 2 won't be running a native 4K. Kind of accepted that one. But upscaled 4K looks almost as good, so, I don't really care. It's going to look pretty close. I already think 1440p and 4K look pretty close. So, and DLSS really is a dream come true. To explain a little bit how it works, is it takes frame number 1 and frame number 3 and decides what should be present in frame number 2. And then it proceeds to put frame number 2 in there. And there's dedicated cores within a chipset to accomplish this. So that's how DLSS works. And it does that for resolution, frame rate, etc. To help both of them. So, what do I think this means for Nintendo games? Well. Nintendo's gonna do a lot with it now. Next game, I think they're trying to push that out quickly. I do fear that Nintendo may slow down their a little bit, just a little bit, which may not actually be a bad thing. They're coming out with a lot of games right now. So maybe instead of like 10 to 12 games a year, it's like 7 to 8 games a year, just due to modern games taking a while, more polygons, them getting used to the new hardware, etc. But maybe they do keep up the same kind of input. But imagine what a 3D Mario could do with all this RAM and power. Can it be open world? Screw Mario Galaxy 3, make it Mario Universe, where you jump between systems. The next Zelda. Imagine what the Zelda team could do, considering what they did on the Switch. Monolith Soft, Xenoblade Chronicles 4, or whatever Xeno is next, etc. I think the future's bright. And I think we should be excited for it. But yeah, that's about it.